I'm just going to jump straight into it. Clara, especially during series 7 and 8, was an underrated and overhated companion. There, I said it. Doctor Who fans, don't come at me and talk about Adric. I've already done one covering Adric. In today's video, we're strictly speaking about nuwho and nuwho companions, and Clara by far is the most overhated and pretty underrated companion. And I don't count Yaz or Ryan here, because I genuinely sympathise with why people dislike those companions, whereas with Clara, I think Clara has a lot more to offer, and people kind of underplay. But if you believe Yaz, Ryan, or whatever else companion is genuinely the most underrated or overhated, I won't hold it against you, it's your opinion. But in today's video, I'm going to tell you the story of Clara Oswald and why she is the most underrated and overhated companion in nuwho, and why people genuinely dislike this character.
His name is the Doctor. Or the name he needs, everything you need to know about him. And if you love him, and you should, help him.
Starting off for what I believe is one of the most obvious reasons for why people didn't initially like Clara Oswald, and that's for the fact that she replaced the Ponds midway through Series 7, you know, the season where Matt Smith leaves. And there's a few reasons why replacing Clara Oswald with the Ponds kind of created disdain towards the character of Clara. For one, the Ponds were incredibly popular at the time. Not only this, but after Series 7 fully aired, a lot of people were kind of annoyed that they did in fact replace the Ponds when they did with Clara, because they felt like a lot of these emotional moments, like, you know, the Doctor visiting Trenzalore before his final outing, you know, would have been a lot more emotional with the Ponds. Contributing factor to this idea and thought process is that how the 11th Doctor is written and how he was portrayed throughout his era. The Doctor doesn't work without his family, the Ponds. This character and version of the Doctor just doesn't work without them. So some of these more emotional moments when you replace them with Clara just don't work. It feels even more disconjointed than just doing Series 7A and Series 7 Part B. Unfortunately, replacing characters like Amy and Rory with Clara just was never going to work, especially during that time. What didn't help Clara's introduction was that Clara's whole Impossible Girl arc was pretty hard to follow for a lot of fans and more casual viewers. And for a lot of people that do actually understand the Impossible Girl arc, they find it incredibly annoying and that it doesn't really make sense even when you do actually understand it. It just kind of makes Clara a dislikable character. I feel like it's also very important to note that the version of Clara that we see in Series 7 in comparison to Series 8 and Series 9 are worlds apart. They are practically different characters. Series 8 and 9 Clara can be very, very likable and is a very interesting character. Series 7 Clara, apart from the Impossible Girl arc, which is subpar at best, is just very annoying and pretty flat. So when you combine all these contributing factors up together and then adding on top the fact that Matt Smith's 11th Doctor doesn't really have any chemistry with Clara, especially in comparison to Peter Capaldi's version of the Doctor, it just kind of made for a really bad beginning for a companion. I genuinely think it's unfortunate how she was written in Series 7, because it soured the audience towards her character, meaning they really just didn't give her a chance with Series 8 and 9, and a lot of people were happy when she went. And it's unfortunate because Series 8 and 9 Clara is a completely different character in comparison to Series 7. It's not even close. In Series 7, she was used as a plot device and a plot arc, and people don't like that arc, and therefore don't like Clara. Unfortunately, that's just how it was. I think it's unfair to do that to the companion and Clara as a whole as a character, but that's just how it was. Because she was used as a arc and a plot device in Series 7, it just soured people. So basically, she was just a huge scapegoat for anybody that didn't like anything to do with Series 7. But I do completely understand why people don't like Clara's characterization in Series 7. I really struggle to watch Series 7 Part B now because of Clara. I really struggle. And that is no fault of Jenna Coleman because she's incredible in the role, but trying to watch Series 7 Part B with how Clara's characterized, especially when you watch Series 8 and 9, it's just really hard. But that's Series 7, a series that really poisoned the well for Clara's characterization and what people thought of Clara. I don't think it was all doom and gloom. I think Clara did have some shining moments in Series 7, like especially Nightmare in Silver, where she takes charge. Something we see a lot more in Series 8 and Series 9, but we just don't see too much of it in Series 7, so it's kind of a bit meh. What I mean by that is certain scenes in Series 7, Clara takes control, and the next, she's used like a plot device, and she basically forgets all her characterization and character development, or any she had in Series 7. It's really frustrating, and I'm glad that they didn't do that in Series 8 or 9. But actually, let's move on to those two series, because I personally think this is where the underrated comes in.
Why? Why would you do this?
because I think it's gonna be a whopper.
Series 8 and Series 9 of Doctor Who do something incredible for the characterization and character development of Clara Oswald. Instead of the Doctor being some type of attraction for Clara, Clara isn't attracted to the Doctor like that. They're soulmates, but just not in that type of way. There's rivalry, and Clara stands up to the Doctor a lot more. Clara also isn't used as his plot device, and her character development is great. She gets also a lot more time to shine. In Series 7, there was a heavy focus on this upcoming 50th anniversary and the end of the 11th Doctor's tenure. Here we get to see Clara Oswald flourish as this incredible character who rivals the Doctor. And paired with Peter Capaldi's version of the Doctor and his incredible acting, they have some incredible chemistry, this incredible relationship, and it's really beautiful and emotional to see on screen.
I don't think I could ever forget you.
I don't think you're ever gonna have to.
I wanted to use that as an example of the emotion between Clara and the Doctor, but it's also made me realise that I really wanted to make a video on Hellbent and how overhated that episode is, because that scene, the writing, the music, their interaction, always sends shivers down my spine. This does come to a criticism of her characterization in Series 8 and 9. Not from me personally, but from a lot of people. A lot of people didn't like how similar she became to the Doctor, how incredibly intelligent she was all of a sudden, how she could match the Doctor, how she could match Missy, how she could do all these things. And I think that was the whole point of her characterization here, but some people just didn't like that, and I think that's fair enough. But I want to give a positive spin here, because I genuinely think this is what makes Clara's characterization here just so incredible and impeccable. I love how she becomes too much like the Doctor, and that's unfortunately her undoing and her downfall here. And I think it's really poetic for the Doctor and the Doctor's loneliness. I think Clara is an incredible companion when she becomes like the Doctor, when she becomes reckless, and you know, we see the consequences on that character. It's honestly pretty emotional because by her death, she's lost so much. She lost her love of her life, Danny Pink. She's now losing her best friend, the Doctor, and she's about to lose her life. But that brings me to my next talking point, something that a lot of people don't like of, let's rewind, Series 8, Danny Pink. People genuinely don't like Danny Pink's relationship with Clara Oswald, and again, I don't get it. Her relationship with Danny and what happens to Danny Pink really forged the character of Clara Oswald and make her to be what I personally think is his underrated companion. The character development that she undergoes with Danny Pink is something that I think makes her such a strong and compelling character by the end of Series 8 and especially Series 9. From what I've seen as well, people don't like how Clara lies to Danny constantly, manipulates Danny and the Doctor here because of their relationship, so I think that's also a contributing factor. I don't think it's just that they don't like Danny Pink and Clara Oswald relationship, but they just don't like, you know, all the lying and manipulation that Clara's character does during this series, which I personally think makes her character more compelling, but I do understand maybe people's dislike here. But coming towards the end of the video and coming towards the end of Clara's run in the show, let's take a look at her ending and departure from the show. People loved that she became reckless like the Doctor and became too much like the Doctor, and she, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, had to face the consequences. She faced the consequences by facing the Raven, and the Doctor fell into a trap, and that was great. Her dying here was incredible, very emotional, and, you know, Capaldi getting stuck in the confession dome and doing all of this stuff was great. Even up until Clara coming back was great. But what went wrong? I think the YouTuber Crispy Pro sums it up pretty well here.
But in all honesty, that is not the ending I really wanted for Clara. Like, I understand that now she can come back, but I love the fact that, you know, she was becoming like the Doctor, and then she paid the price. Not, you know, I didn't want to see her become the Doctor.
There was a lot of issues that people had with this and kind of tainted her incredible finale, was that, you know, she got in her TARDIS and flew away. And it was an issue with Moffat era of kind of, you know, having the companion have a departure and then bringing her back. It's the same thing they did with Bill Potts. I think a combination of Series 7 Clara not being too great and the ending for Clara not being seen in a positive light by Doctor Who fans either kind of tainted this character from beginning to the end. Because everything in the middle, for the most part, was absolutely incredible, but the beginning and end of Clara's character was pretty meh. But I honestly believe people overhate here. I don't think it's as bad as people paint it out to be. I definitely think there were some dodgy choices made here, but I genuinely think Clara's character is underrated as hell, and the most underrated New Who companion. Sorry people that really think that it's Yaz, Ryan, Graham, or Dan, or basically any Jodie Whittaker companion, but unfortunately they are as 2D as, you know, something 2D. For everybody watching, what do you think of the character of Clara Oswald and her characterization throughout the show? Do you think she's underrated? Do you think that she's overhated? Comment down below. But this has been the story of what I think is Doctor Who's most underrated companion. But I've been your host Samuel. Whilst you're down there commenting, feel free to subscribe and leave a like. But I will catch you in the next Doctor Who related video.